Facebook just announced that it has officially banned Donald Trump. Yes, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has been banned from Facebook. This is not a permanent, long term ban, but Facebook just announced that they are banning President Donald Trump from the use of its platforms, at least through the transition of power to President elect Joe Biden. I'm going to break this down on drboystv.com. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. We're going to talk about it right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boys TV. Here we are.
Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Give me a yes or no if you can hear me. Give me a yes or no if you can hear me. Okay. It looks like the system's acting a little bit weird, but let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes or no. So Facebook just announced that they banned Donald Trump and have totally kicked him off the platform, which is really fascinating. This is kind of shocking, kind of unprecedented. I've never seen this before, and this is something that you never really thought this would happen in America, but it's happening right now. And I just am kind of blown away by this. I'm going to give you some details on this, but I want to ask you guys, what do you think? Give me a yes or no. Yes or no. Do you think that it makes sense for Facebook to tell Donald Trump that he cannot speak on their platform anymore? Yes or no? Are you okay with that? Do you think it's bad or good, or what are your thoughts on that? Give me a yes or no in terms of how you feel about this. Yes, if you think Trump should be banned from Facebook. No, if you think that he should not. Give me a yes or no. Okay, I see some no's. Sonia says no. Legacy says no. Andrea says yes. Janet, yes. Uh, Yvonne, no. Reg CPA, no. Yeah, I. Okay, so here's what's interesting. So let me give you the details on what's going on, and then I'll kind of give you a point of view on this. This is not, as we're not a speech. So I believe you have a right to disagree with me as long as I have the right to disagree with you, so we can learn from each other and hear from each other's perspective. So let me read this to you. The article is in the Associated Press. It says that Facebook bans Trump through the Biden inauguration, maybe longer, maybe longer. So they pretty much told the president that we might ban you forever, especially if we think that you might have. We're not going to let you do that, right? That's kind of what I think they're saying, right? So basically, Facebook and Instagram will bar President Donald Trump from posting on its system at least until the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, the platform said Thursday. In a post announcing the unprecedented move, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg said the risk of allowing Trump to use the platform is too great following the president's incitement of a mob that touched off a deadly riot in the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday. Zuckerberg says Trump's account will be live. You're getting this very interesting mixed bag of a conversation. Let me know if you can hear me. I see some of you say it's skipping. Give me a yes if you can hear me. Give me a no if you can't hear me. I want to make sure I'm coming through okay. Um, so it sounds to me like Facebook is basically saying that we don't think, is the audio back? Tell me if it's in and out. I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize. I don't know what the deal is with this thing. Can you hear me okay? This is so awkward. Okay. So I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep talking and just keep giving me feedback and let me know if you can hear me okay. So what it sounds like Facebook is basically saying is that because we think that you are a danger to society, we're not gonna let you use our platform. Which, on one hand, you can understand that, right? I don't think anybody's here to defend Donald Trump. I agree with those who think he should probably go to jail. I think that there are people who feel, rightfully so, that Donald Trump is a menace to society. But I think, on the other hand, there's another point of view. There's another thing that it seems to be kind of thrown out the window, which is called freedom of speech. This idea there. There are some of us who still believe that a person who has an opinion that differs from our own has a right to share that opinion. And if you're talking about this situation, it's kind of a touchy thing. I mean, at the very least, what it's definitely saying is it's sort of a blanket admission by social media platforms that they have as much power as the president. They get to decide who the presidents and governors are going to be. They're not just the kings; they're the king makers. And I think that this is a dangerous precedent in the sense that you've seen it go down a slippery slope. You've seen people do the same thing with Farrakhan. Right now, Farrakhan is banned from Facebook. Farrakhan is banned from Twitter. And Farrakhan doesn't incite violence. Farrakhan has never told anybody to go and be violent toward others. Even Vlad TV lied. Vlad TV went and said that Farrakhan told people to pick up a rock and throw rocks at Jewish people or something, which Farrakhan never said that. He said the rock of truth. You throw truth at somebody, you ain't hitting them in the head. You're not gonna kill somebody with truth, right? You don't, just like you can't kill somebody with kindness, you can't kill somebody with the rock of truth. But what they do is there are those, just the same people who claim that there are individuals who are spreading falsehoods through social media. Well, those who control social media are spreading falsehoods as well. Again, the way they treated Farrakhan, that's the spreading of a falsehood. You allowed the spread of a lie that this man is going around hurting other people, and Minister Louis Farrakhan has not hurt anybody. There's nothing happening anywhere. That now you can go and debate some things that might have happened in the 1960s with Malcolm and all that. I've heard all those theories. I'm not naive. I'm not stupid. But I love the nation. I love the minister, and that's not going to change. And I can tell you, the last 50 years, I haven't seen anything that says that violence is being incited, but Farrakhan is banned too. And give me a yes or no. I'm asking another yes or no question. How many of you have ever been put in Facebook jail? Give me a yes or no if you've ever been in Facebook jail. How many ex-convicts do we have in the room who have spent time in Facebook jail, having people, teach you how to make a knife out of a spoon and putting money on your books and coming to talk to you through a glass wall. How many of you have been in Facebook jail? How many Facebook jail veterans do we have? Yes or no, if you've ever been banned from Facebook. Look, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I see Andrea and Yvonne and Darlene. Kim says she hasn't. Well, you're lucky, Kim. Now, the other Kim Miss Money, says yeah. Peppo says plenty of times. And so I think that what Facebook is really admitting, when Facebook goes and does a flex like that, like when Facebook really steps out and says, we have the power to ban the president of the United States, that is them admitting to how much power they have, that they're not just a harmless bulletin board where people are just posting information. They're just passively allowing them to do that. They have become the arbiters of truth. They have become judge, jury, and executioner of not just ideas, but of people's businesses. Did anybody know there's a story out? Give me a yes or no if you've heard the story. There's a story out right now about a business owner who spent $46 million in Facebook ads, and he was running. It's technically still a small business, but he built this business up pretty good. He had lots of employees. He was making good money, and Facebook shut him down. And Facebook, when he asked, he said, "Why did you shut me down? What did I do?" Facebook said, "We don't owe you an explanation. We don't owe you anything. We owe you no explanation at all for why now we've totally killed your business. We owe your employees no explanation for why they no longer have a job. We don't owe you an explanation. That's tyranny. So what you're seeing right now, here's what you're seeing. Pay attention now. I'm gonna summarize this conversation for those who either just came in or maybe haven't gotten the point. You're seeing a tyrant against a tyrant. You're seeing a dictator versus dictator. You're seeing white supremacist A battling white supremacist B. When you watch what happened in the Capitol, you saw a bunch of crazy Trump supporters climbing walls, busting windows, chasing security guards, looking like Keystone cops. I mean, had these guards looking pathetic, right? You saw them chase them down, and I saw the reaction. I saw people online saying, "Oh, this is if that was a black, if that wasn't a black cop, if that was a white cop, it would have been different. If those had been black protesters, they would have shot him." We know that's true for sure. Absolutely. We know that there are people out there that would love to get rid of a black person. Joe Biden was one of them. That's why he called you super predators and wanted to put you all in prison because everybody's scared of you. That's a hatred of black people is a bipartisan issue. The dislike of black people is a bipartisan issue. Do you hear what I'm saying when I tell you that disdain and disrespect for black people, there's no debate in the halls of Congress over the only debate they have is who dislikes black people the most. Right. So when I look at that whole situation that went down yesterday, here's what I see. Number one, that whole riot, that whole chaos, all that chaos was just a continuation of what you saw all summer. The same way you saw people climbing the fence and running through the halls of Congress and not getting pushed back from the police. That's exactly what I saw in the summer when I saw Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the LGBT-led organization that is run by the far left. That's not a black organization. Black Lives Matter just has a black face on it. It's not a black organization. When I saw them burning down people's businesses, throwing rocks through windows, and destroying people's lives, killing off jobs, or whatever, I didn't see black people having anything to do with that. I saw black people being played. I saw black people following along because they used the word black. They put the word black on it, and you run along like, oh, yeah, no, we going to do that. Black Lives Matter, y'all. No. Agreeing with the term Black Lives Matter is not the same as understanding the organization Black Lives Matter and the fact that they use that terminology, this false branding, to pull you into a battle that's not even yours. Seriously, it's easy. It's easy. It's done in politics all the time. It's done in politics all the time. Like if you want to be a successful Democrat, Bill Clinton figured it out. Bill Clinton figured out that in order to be a successful Democrat, you had to dress up like a Republican. And then the Republicans would think that you were a Democrat and they would support you. That's how Bill Clinton was so successful. Bill Clinton went to the middle of the aisle and he started repeating Republican talking points and he got Republican votes. When Ward Connerly, this is another example of false flag operations, just like Black Lives Matter, what they did to you, false flag operations. When Ward Connerly wanted to dismantle affirmative action, pay attention, when he wanted to get rid of affirmative action, he didn't go around saying, I am a racist black man or I'm a black white supremacist and I want to get rid of affirmative action. No, you know what he called? You know what he did? I think he called his bill something like the Equal Opportunity Act or the Civil Rights Bill, right? And because people don't read, people don't take the time to investigate, people don't look at the information, they were like, oh, well, Civil Rights Bill, I'll support that. And people were signing. Pay attention. That's what he did. He went state to state to dismantle affirmative action. And black people were signing his petitions because they thought that it was a civil rights bill. They thought that it was in favor of black people when it was against black people. So what I'm saying to you is that they're playing games with y'all. They are doing rope-a-dopes on a cosmic level. And it's absolutely fascinating to observe. So when I saw those crazy yahoos from the Trump team jumping over fences and busting out windows and running through the halls of Congress, I said, uh-oh, here we go again. Now the far right is pretty much doing exactly what the far left was doing all summer. I didn't support it last summer. I don't support it now. I don't want to see people busting out windows in the halls of Congress. I don't want to see people rioting in the streets and burning down businesses. But you know what? I also understand that there's an element of truth to why both sides have gotten that frustrated. Here's the bigger picture that I need you to understand. The reason that people on the left and the people on the right are frustrated is for very similar reasons. They are all frustrated because your country has become a complete mess. Your politicians are lining their pockets more than they're taking care of the American people. I did a video the other day where I explained to you that Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell have a combined net worth of $200 million or more, $250 million net worth between the two of them. Each of them combined is making about $30 million a month. And now this is against the backdrop of these two people single-handedly deciding that they might send the American people a $600 check if they feel like it. Maybe they'll send a $2,000 check if they feel especially generous. Well, Nancy Pelosi, how about you go live off a $2,000 check when you had to sit at home for 7 months because everybody keeps telling you that if you step out on your front porch, you're going to die. I'm going to tell you, I'm a rebel against all of this nonsense. Me and my woman went to Mexico last week. I did not care. I got on that crowded plane with my mask and my hand sanitizer, and I said, I'm going to live my life because these damn politicians don't care nothing about me and my family. I'm going to live my life. It's all a game. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Renee. Excellent. Renee said it all. Renee she just summarized all my long-winded dialogue by basically saying it's all a game. It's a game. The people on the left are frustrated for the same reason that the people on the right are frustrated. You have a bunch of pathetic, incompetent politicians who care nothing about you. The people on the left, I don't agree with burning down a business and busting out windows and all this other stuff, but I do understand when they say that capitalism has gone too far, that American inequality has gotten ridiculous, that you've got millionaires and billionaires deciding that they're going to send you a $2,000 check after forcing you to sit at home without a job for 6 months. That's crazy. And I also understand that I don't know how people feel, but I understand why those gun-toting Trump supporters decided to climb the walls of Congress. I think they did. You know what? Part of me had no problem with that because I was sort of like, well, maybe if this stuff gets a little real for them, maybe if they really realize that you're really affecting real people's lives and that some people ain't going to just argue with you on Twitter. Some people going to show up at your house, that maybe you'll take your job a little more seriously. You declare wars for money and you send people's children off to die, but yet none of these congressional leaders will ever send their own kids to war. Did you ever see Michael Moore's documentary where Michael Moore, he went to Congress and he went to all the congressmen who had voted in favor of the Iraq war? Go watch his movies. They're really good. And in this movie, he specifically sought out the congressmen who were talking the most smack about how we need to go to war, this and this. He said, well, you know what? You have a child that is actually military age. Your child can actually go to war and fight for this country, just like you said that we should send our kids to go fight in the war. Would you sign this piece of paper signing your child up to go to war in Iraq? All these people ran for the hills. They ran for the hills. And the reason they ran for the hills is because they don't live in the real world. They live in a world where they feel they can destroy people's lives without any consequences whatsoever. Now, I am not here on any level to condone what I saw yesterday. I did not want to see that at all. I do not. I want to preserve the sanctity of our institutions. I just think that's extremely important because I don't want to have bloodshed as a necessary consequence of a transition of power. I want a peaceful transition of power. But I completely understood why those people felt that they had no other option other than to climb the walls of Congress to let them know, hey, we are here. We are real. We will come. You can't be touched. Some people act funny when they think they can't be touched. I had a friend one time who told me, I'm not going to say his name, but he told me about a time where he had some guy that was talking crazy about him on Twitter and was making things up and telling lies. And this guy just had a vendetta. Every time he did a video, the guy would come out and just say some stuff that wasn't true and spread false rumors and talk about his family and all that. And you know what he did? He said, you know what? I found out where the guy lived and I went to his house. And he answered the door and he was holding the baby and he froze up because I was at his front door. because he didn't understand I'm a real person and I will knock you out in front of your child. Now, I'm not saying that that's okay. I wasn't condoning. I wasn't saying, whoa, man, yeah, you should do that. I'm just saying that there are some people who really live in a bubble where they think that their decisions don't have real consequences. And I just wish Congress would kind of understand that. I know it's not possible. I'm wishing for something that isn't going to happen because the big problem that you have is that your government is controlled by money. Your government is very corrupt. They are owned by the capitalists, and they make decisions on behalf of corporations that they do not make on behalf of the American people. So, what that means is that when it comes to these elected officials, it's very easy for millionaires, billionaires, and businesses to get money out of the government. They write checks to corporations like it ain't nothing. They'll do that all day long. I'm a business owner. It's easy to get money from the government. When you're wealthy, it's easy to get money from the government. That's why I tell you guys to be investors, because when that money goes into corporations, you saw that this morning the stock market went up. You saw that today, if you own Bitcoin, some of y'all own Bitcoin because we've been talking about it. You saw your Bitcoin is now worth $38,000. It was worth about $6,000 or $7,000 just 7 8 months ago. You could have bought a piece for $6,000 a pop a few months ago, and not that you have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You could have bought $50 worth of Bitcoin, $100 worth of Bitcoin. You don't have to buy $6,000 worth. But Bitcoin was $6,000 early this year. Now it's $38,000. So there are people in this country that are making money. They're going to keep making money. The stock market went up today. So what I'm saying to you is that you have multiple realities that exist in America. The big problem, the fundamental problem in America that I see right now is a couple fold. Actually, it really be reduced to one word: inequality. Inequality is probably the greatest problem that America has right now. The reason that you see Donald Trump sitting up there controlling the masses is because Donald Trump's a billionaire who has that ability to do that. And he's supported by other billionaires who help him do that. The reason that you see Facebook deciding who the president of the United States is going to be and who is not going to be, who gets to talk and who doesn't, is because many of the billionaires in our society now became billionaires through technology. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos this past year, each of them, both heavy technologists, earned about $300 million a day. They each, let me say it again, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, two technologists, this year during a pandemic, during the time where so many people are suffering, were earning $300 million a day. So those individuals are your power brokers. They have more power than the presidency. They can buy a politician. It's easy to buy a politician. Like Ice Cube had a song called Everything's Corrupt. You should go hear the song. He said, for my birthday, buy me a politician, right? And so basically, you can buy politicians. And these billionaires, that's what they've done. They bought your politicians. That's why it's so hard for the people to get anything out of the government, even though you're the ones who voted. The corporations didn't vote. But the corporations know that if they give the politician enough money, they can run a marketing campaign to get you to vote however they want you to vote because you're sheep. The country is filled with sheep, and a sheep is easily manipulated. So they say, look, we'll give you money to buy the sheep. But when the when the meal is served, you're gonna feed us before you feed the sheep. You don't feed the sheep because the sheep don't know nothing. The sheep just does what they're told. So the question is, are you a thinker or are you a sheep? Are you an independent minded person or are you a person that follows the crowd? I am determined to not be a sheep. So, and I'm hoping that people who get what I'm saying will choose not to be sheep as well. So with all this that's going on, there's a lot of inequality that's driving this. Whether you're on the right or the left, a lot of the reason for the chaos is fundamentally connected. The Democrats, obviously get mad at the Republicans. Republicans get mad at Democrats, but really it's white supremacists versus white supremacists, because I have not heard at one time any of these groups even talk anything about reparations for Black people. We have had Black communities under Democrat and Republican rule, and in both cases, the Black community continues to decline. Black people do not have a dog in any of these fights. We know that that's true. With these social media companies, you got to be real careful because all this power has corrupted them to the point where they sit back. Most of them are latte sipping liberals who believe that your child should be maybe a little bit gayer, or maybe they believe that that immigration should be easy, and that all the people coming across the border should be allowed to come in and dilute the Black vote, or maybe they think that your Baptist church is backward and ignorant because your mama believes whatever the pastor told them in the Bible. They feel like they have a right to tell you what to think. They really do. Like, they really believe that there's such a thing as ideas that should be allowed, and ideas that should not be allowed. And that violates the fundamental idea that people have a right to be who they want to be, that people should have a right to say what they want to say. That's it. I don't need you to agree with me. I just need you to let me talk. That's it. And they don't want to let you talk. If they don't like what you said, I have quoted Malcolm X on my Facebook page and been banned from Facebook for a week because I quoted Malcolm X. I quoted Muhammad Ali one time, got banned for that. I quoted Tyler Perry once. See, even Tyler Perry, when he ain't putting on the Medea dress, can say some wise stuff every now and then. He speaks a lot of powernomics principles. If you've ever listened to Tyler speak after he won an award, he'll talk about black ownership and stuff like that. So that's what me and Tyler can really vibe. And I quoted Tyler Perry before and got banned from Facebook. And then the thing is that because they have so much absolute power and because there is no accountability, they don't even give you an explanation. They don't give you an explanation. I had a Facebook page that has 650,000 fans on it 5 years ago, and Facebook just suspended it. And they didn't respond to our messages. They didn't tell us why. They didn't give us an explanation. They just suspended it, and it stayed suspended for 2 years. For 2 years, it stayed suspended, and then eventually it just disappeared. So I had to start all over again. So, SRT Roach, I agree with you. Why make an account on Facebook? Well, because Facebook has so much power that you have to use Facebook if you want to reach the masses. So we have Facebook pages, but we diversify. I go to a lot of different platforms. And in fact, there's one of them right there, yourblackworldtv.com. If you subscribe there, I would love that. I would appreciate that very much so we can stay connected. And also, I use an app called Parler, Parler. I like Parler, even though Parler was started by conservatives. I don't care about that. I don't care if it was liberal or conservative. I don't care about your political views. I can do business with a conservative. I can do business with a liberal as long as you don't tell me who to be. Right? As long as you give me freedom of speech. So if you want to follow me on Parler, I'm at Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm also on Clubhouse. I'm on a lot of different platforms, primarily because I fear the tyranny of Facebook. Like, think about this. This is a company that feels that they can openly ban the president of the United States because they don't like what he's saying, and they get to make that decision. And if you go back and look at the origins of Facebook and look at who Mark Zuckerberg was before he became the CEO of a major company, you could tell that there were some personality issues there that should be very disturbing. Mark Zuckerberg is the guy who actually said that people who are sharing their information with him and not asking questions are stupid. Anybody ever see that? Where he literally said, these stupid people will just give me their information and not ask any questions. They're so stupid. He texted that to one of his friends, and his friend eventually released the text. So these tech companies are getting too much power. And what would normally happen is if you didn't have such a corrupt government, they would actually challenge them and hit them up on antitrust violations, just like China's doing right now. China's doing that with Jack Ma, the CEO of Alibaba, the richest man in China, if I'm not mistaken, has been missing for weeks. He's been missing, and a lot of people believe that the Chinese government has literally interrogated his ass. They took him away from his family and took him to some private cell, and they've been asking him questions and hold him down until he eventually agrees to do some things with his company, because they're not going to let him have that much power. I don't know if that's the right approach. I'm not saying that that's okay, but what I am saying is that Facebook in America, companies like Facebook and Twitter are allowed to have monopoly power, and nobody challenges them. Because if you go look at your leading politicians, I'm talking about everybody from Joe Biden to Warnock, all the way across the board, and you look at who their biggest donors are, you're almost always going to see Facebook somewhere in that base of donors, right? So when these people are funding your politicians dare not bite the hand that feeds them. And I say this as a financial expert, that when you follow the money, everything makes sense. So if you ever want to understand why somebody's doing something, why politicians are moving the way they move, just follow the money. It'll explain everything. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get out of here. Do me a favor, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Parler, follow me on Clubhouse at Dr. Boyce Watkins. Also, the Black Wealth Bootcamp starts tonight at 8 o'clock. So if you'd like to join us, go to blackwealthbootcamp.com. Sorry about the audio issues earlier. I don't know what was going on with the technology, but either way, it was great to talk to you guys, and thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.